And welcome to episode number 1 of the Jonathan Voyles Podcast. For those of you who watched my previous podcast, you were in the same space, obviously, and I figured we weren't going to change the set. This is me. This is who I am, so I was going to keep it. So the Jonathan Voyles Podcast, and today I'm extremely honored and excited to have who we have on. The head preacher of Crestview Baptist Church. Actually, you guys call it, is it senior? What's the correct term?
I think Most High Reverend. I don't know.
Yeah.
That would be.
Well, there is a title. I saw
Senior pastor.
That's what I was looking for. The senior pastor
or
of
bishop.
Crestview Baptist.
Yeah. Bishop. Cardinal.
Bishop works. Cardinal works.
I was actually going to get into. I was going to call Jordan last night and get, what you did through college and all your accolades, and I figured, let's just save it. Let's use that as content and have you speak about that. Also, we have my brother, Jordan Voyles, who's been on my previous podcast before. We even did like a little, pilot teaser of this podcast. We had some fun doing that. But Jordan works with John Gerlach at Crestview Baptist as the worship leader. So maybe we can get in a little bit about that dynamic and how you guys work together on a day-to-day basis. But
that'd be good.
Yeah, that would
let's
be really good.
some of the ping pong matches and all the stuff you guys do. But I'm going to turn it over to you. Like I said, I was going to save the accolades. I know you're a decorated guy, so let's hear it. How was it getting from, let's say, high school to now? Let's get that part of the story.
Okay. So for me, the journey was kind of high school. My dad was a chemist. I was going to be a chemist because he wanted me to be a chemist mainly, and he could help me with my homework, so that was good. But I basically went to college, got a degree in chemistry, and then graduated in 3 years. And so I felt like I could take a year and explore some options, and so I explored playing tennis, and I explored basically ministry. I was actually working at a college with a campus ministry, and so I did that for that year. The tennis quickly proved that I was not going to make it at that level. That didn't take a whole long time for that to happen, for that awareness to be very evident, and so I ended up taking a year, and what it was set up is you could do a year at this campus. I did it. Significant year in my life, changed my life. I met my future wife at that campus. I realized that my whole direction, I was going to fall back and kind of go med school, but then it was like, no, I really think this is the way I need to go. And so that's how I ended up saying I want to go toward a ministry.
So you felt that
church. Calling. Yeah, I really did that year. I mean, it was not even on the radar, honestly. It was not even a possibility, but that year gave me a chance to explore it and see what it was like. And
did something happen? Did you go somewhere? Did you meet somebody? Was it at a church service? What kind of switched?
No, I think for me it was just seeing people change. I mean, seeing people, just people's lives changing. And it's college students I was mainly working with, so it was just great to see them change and God work in their life. And for me, all the different directions I felt like some of the directions I was going for were for the wrong reasons. Honestly, it was kind of selfish and kind of either just monetary or just whatever, the doctor route and all that.
Interesting.
So that was just kind of for me the realization. And then honestly, I guess as far as a moment, so it was a gradual deal. But there was one moment where one of my friends came up to me and said, "Hey, have you ever thought about being, like a pastor?" And my response was, "Absolutely not. I've never thought about it."
Yeah.
And he said, "I don't know why. You should." And I guess that was, if there's a moment, that was the moment. It was actually a question from a friend. That was the moment that made me start thinking, like, well, what is he seeing that maybe I should be seeing?
Yeah.
But then it kind of all came together when I realized that, I guess he is just seeing my reaction to some things that I'm involved in and people's lives, and just love that part of it.
See, and I was thinking about this the other day is growing up how me and Jordan did in a Pentecostal church, and with that environment, I felt like there was a lot more of, talking to someone and actually like speaking something onto their life if they saw something, whether it was a pastor
Right.
or a evangelist or whatever it might be,
Yeah.
and they saw something in someone and they kind of they spoke it onto them, right? Because they saw it, they knew it, they saw it, they felt it. And do you feel like we've kind of, in this day and age, we've lost that? Do you think we've lost that kind of speaking, a calling onto somebody?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. It really, I mean, there's nothing better than you have a friend or somebody who knows you really well, who may see something before you see it. That, in all areas of life, but especially spiritually, but in other areas too, where you need that level of accountability. I think you need that level of encouragement. I think you need that level of a direction to go, hey, have you thought about this? You'd be great at that. And sometimes I think we don't see it ourselves first.
Right.
And I think from a spiritual perspective, I think God uses people to nudge us lots of times. So I think we kind of have lost that. I don't know that, I think there's kind of what you're describing is a little more formal thing, which I think is great and good. I think even though informally, like just a friend or just somebody going, man, that's, that's really amazing that what you're doing there, or that's a great thing I see in you, or, I just think that's one of the great things a friend can do, or in a relationship where somebody sees that, encourages you, and you go down that path that you may not have even thought about without their encouragement.
Well, sometimes it can go the other way, though. Sometimes good friends tell you what you don't want to hear either.
Well, you need that too, though.
But I think today's, the day and age we live in now is people are sensitive a lot more than they used to be. At least that's how I see it. So maybe people stay away from that. So maybe that's the reason why it doesn't happen so much.
My theory would be that people are so used to just not doing it in real life.
Interesting.
That the real life aspect of, I think part of the reason it's faded is because of that. Because it's like, I may want to post and tell you what's wrong, but I don't want to talk to you about it.
Right?
Not face to face, not real life.
Yeah.
I want to just
social media has ruined it, I think, a lot.
Yeah. I think it's just made it where I want to do a little troll mode for you.
Yeah.
And that's it.
But so going back, you met your wife, or your soon-to-be wife. I don't know if soon-to-be or if it came a lot later, but you met your who would be your wife in college. You had that conversation with your friend, and that really changed your life, I guess, in a way.
Yeah,
and then what happened?
Well, from that point on, so I was in that town where that college was, and then one of the pastors locally came to me actually and said, I want to offer you a job, which was, oh, okay. So I began working and then I decided I'm going to go to seminary. And so I had my official title was, Jordan's going to love this, my official title was youth pastor and janitor. So it was awesome.
Wow.
It was awesome.
And how old were you when that happened?
Yeah. Okay. So I was probably 21, 22 right there, because I graduated early, high school, college. So I was 2 years ahead. So it's probably 21. And I got paid more to be the janitor than the youth pastor.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was part-time. And I got the big bucks was for being janitor.
But
Keep that church clean. Keep it clean.
And I was a sorry janitor. I just want to say I was, and everybody
using the same mop water.
Everybody knew it. They just went. Is funny story. I'm Outland's helping me, which I needed that help. My wife, who was not my wife at that time, but almost, we were engaged, I think, at that time.
I love that.
So I'm cleaning. It's a Saturday night. And these ladies from the church are up there. They don't know I'm up there. And I hear them talking. I'm just kind of going down the hallway, and they're in this room, and they're talking about me. And they go, we just love that John. He's a good guy, great guy, but he is a terrible janitor. And so I'm like laughing in the hallway
gosh.
because, this conversation's going on. I'm going, yeah, they're exactly right.
Right.
Self-sabotage, though. You probably didn't care for the job, and you're like,
Yeah, well, it was. Yeah, it's like I'm just too,
Like, they're right.
too messy. I think myself. I don't even.
I've always said if you don't want to do something, the first time you do it so bad that no one asks you to do it again.
Hey, that's a great lesson in relationships and marriage. I think that's right there. That got me out of folding towels for the rest of my life.
Just
actually.
butcher everything.
There, I got that story, and I did it so bad that Outland has to be thirds.
Oh, okay.
Not half. It's got to be thirds. And I remember we just got married, and so hey, come fold towels with me. I go, okay. And I did it so bad. She said, never
Don't ever
fold
do this
towels
again.
again.
Never again.
Ever.
That's hilarious.
But you got a scholarship for tennis, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so you actually went to college. You thought this was going to be.
Yeah, that was really probably number one.
Wow. So that and all changed there.
Yeah, I just wasn't good enough. I mean, just facts of the matter. It's interesting because you can be state ranked. I was, I had some state rankings. I had some stuff like that in college. Played the national. I played a lot of high level stuff, but there's high level and then there's another level.
Yeah.
And that other level, when you start thinking, okay, you might be state ranked, but are you nationally ranked? Well, you might be nationally ranked, but are you?
Yes.
Here's 10 people from other countries that are internationally ranked.
Right.
And you are not. It just this, and that was some great lessons. I think. It's a great lesson for me. Tennis taught me a big lesson of just you've got to deal with the reality that someone. To be the best is a unbelievable level. It really is a humbling thing, and you can be good, but yeah.
So as you how did you get to? So at this point, you're still where? Where are you living?
In Stephenville, Texas.
Okay, and then how from there did you come to Midland, or did you go to some other places?
No, actually, I went to Athens, Texas, which is East Texas, kind of by Tyler. And my first real life job that I finished seminary, I got hired. So I'd done that campus ministry at that college. Well, I got hired at a college to be the campus minister. I was kind of like the assistant associate that 1 year that I did where I met my wife. And then I got this job I'm the campus minister. So it's the same kind of ministry, only I'm now it's a full-time job. So I start there in Athens, and now married, and my wife is working at the college, and stayed there about 5 years and worked there. It was great. I love those years.
Yeah. And then from there came to Midland?
I think you didn't you go to Arkansas though?
No, okay. So so it's the trail is basically went from Athens, and I then went to Midland.
Oh, okay.
And then I went to Little Rock, and then came back to Midland.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so I have two times at Crestview. First one not as the senior pastor.
So on your second tour.
Second tour in scenic West Texas.
So, so the dynamic between you guys. So, kind of funny story, like how Jordan got into Crestview, right? So Jay had a part in that. Obviously, I knew Jay. That whole us all knowing each other. How has it been having Jordan as the worship leader at Crestview?
I mean, do you really want me to talk? He's right here, so I got to kind of. No, Jordan. Seriously, well, I don't know if I want to be serious.
You can be serious.
Okay, I can be serious.
This podcast, we can do it. We can be both. You can make some jokes, and then you can be serious. Jokes are always funny, though.
Well, Jordan is amazing and great. I love working with Jordan. He's an 80-year-old in a 20-year-old body. It's a great thing. He is amazing. I've told him, and so what I'm about to say, I've told to him. I've worked with a lot of worship pastors over the years, in different roles. Number one favorite, just we have a great friendship. We
Wow.
have a great working relationship. I mean, it's really great, and I don't take that for granted because, like I said, I worked with a lot of different worship pastors over the years, and yeah, it's not always that smooth because you got to work real closely with each other,
Yeah.
you know, and you got to be on the same page. You got to, it's kind of like you know, you have a staff, you have a lot of people in the church, but the two people that really have to be, you know, kind of one mind or
Yeah.
the worship pastor
Yeah.
and the pastor.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I've always heard, I mean, the way we were kind of told when you go into a service is that the worship, you know, the worship band or whatever, the music part of the service is to get you into the spirit, soften you up a little bit, and then when the word does come, you're able to accept it better. Maybe you're in a different spot and you're in a different place. Maybe, you know, you didn't really want to be there. You didn't want to get up. You get in, the worship starts to move you and softens you up, and then you're ready to receive that word that, you know, you or whoever else would provide, right?
That's good.
And
Good way to play
so,
it.
yeah, so
Say it.
when you're in sync with the band, you know, or you guys are just together, I think that makes that so much more seamless, right? So,
Yeah.
you know, I obviously, it's fun for me to go to Crestview and listen to Jordan. I think they do an amazing job, and I really don't say that just because, like, if anyone's hard on Jordan and very critical, it's me.
Is that true?
It's true.
Okay, true.
So I don't ever really hold back. And that's our personal thing that I have to deal with sometimes, that I'm a little too harsh, but
You need to pray about it. a little
yeah,
bit.
probably need to pray about it. But I'm very truthful, kind of going back to what we talked about having good friends who, whether you want to hear it or not, they tell you what, you know, what the truth is. But I'm not just saying it, that, you know, I've been to many churches, and the worship team that you have is second to none. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
they are
amazing.
truly amazing. I
Yeah.
mean, really amazing.
cool.
I appreciate, I mean, their heart. I mean, musically, yes, but even to me, more importantly, is just heart focus. You know, to have the right kind of spirit focus, all that's in place, and that makes, and you have to kind of work at that.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's a great tribute to Jordan, to Brandon,
Yeah.
Our band leader. So it's it's a huge deal.
That's awesome. So I do have a couple questions about, and this could be a touchy subject, but cancel culture in the church. So the way they were explaining it, and I don't know if I really agreed with some of the stuff they were saying, but you know, obviously things are different from when you first maybe started in ministry, right? As all things change, right? I think things in the church are different from when I first started going to church and had a good memory of it. You know, I was born technically into the church. You know, my parents went to church before I was born. So growing up in it, I see a big change. But with things being the way they are in the world now, I feel like there has to be some, and I hate to say it like this, but tiptoeing around certain subjects and certain things because we don't want to offend people. We want to keep everyone happy. But where does that line, you know, meet? Or where do we go, you know what? This is uncomfortable. We have to go here. So how, I mean, I know that was a loaded question. There was a lot of stuff in there, but do you feel like there is cancel culture? Do you feel like there is a lot of tiptoeing around? Do you feel like we have to be careful more than we used to? I mean, what's your thoughts on all that?
Well, it's interesting. I was listening actually to another podcast one time, and I liked what somebody said, and it would be what I would always say. And somebody said, "Well, I've heard you in some, you know, controversial topic. I hear you're kind of for that, or you're kind of tiptoeing around." Is in essence what they were saying to him. And they said, "Well, look, I've just got to go with the Bible. I'm not going to go anything different than that." And I mean, that's what I would say. So I think, yes, I think there's definitely a kind of trend in churches in general. I mean, I think it follows society in general a little bit of saying, let's tiptoe around some stuff. I think, you know, everybody's got to decide what they're going to say or do about that. For me, I've tried to say I don't want to. I think it's a complicated topic because I don't want church to just be what we're against, because I think that for a long time that's kind of what everybody got, and everybody's thought, well, all I know about churches is they're against this or against that. I want everybody to know what we're for. Mm-hmm. And to me, it's just kind of the same message, but how you go about it.
Right.
But to me, there can't be any tiptoeing around. Bottom line, it has to be, let's deal with it. But again, it's something that's difficult, I think, for people to go, hey, I have this authority that is bigger than my opinion. And I just kind of come down to, I have my opinions, somebody else has their opinions, and everybody can have their own opinions. That's great. But, it's disagreeing with God or not. I mean, that bottom line is what it is. So, and I think people kind of, though they don't like it necessarily sometimes, but I think there is some kind of respect for just not just trying to ride the fence on everything. Mm-hmm. To say this is really what I believe in. Here's why I believe it.
That's where I feel like, and in the church, especially like, y'all's church, I feel like like you should, you bring all walks of lives in. You welcome everybody, right? Mm-hmm. Right. You don't have this sign saying, check these marks, check these boxes, right, and then you're allowed in. The best part of a church is it's where you want broken people. That's where they're there to get healed and to get fixed, Exactly. And so people in the church are there because they need healing. Yeah. They're sick, they're broke. That's where they go. Mm-hmm. And so I feel like going back to, all of that is, tiptoeing around can be a very scary thing, because at the end of the day, we're all trying to get to one place. We're all trying to get closer to God. And if we skirt around certain issues, that could be a huge deal.
Yeah. I don't think that there's really any cancel culture really in the church that's prevalent. I think the pendulum has swung completely to the other side, where, like you said, everyone's kind of more accepting. Maybe they're afraid if they take a stance on something. You see this with the capital C church, where it's, the church worldwide. But I feel like, John, and your leadership at Crestview, I think we've done a great job of just, like you said, keeping the main thing. Even through the seasons that we've been living, you're like, okay, what does Christ say about this? Or, there's a lot of pastors that go off on these tangents, but you've stayed committed to the Word of God, which I appreciate.
I would agree with Jordan. I don't think there's a lot of cancel culture. I think there's there's a lot of tangents. I think he kind of talked about that, and I think I would agree with that totally. It's more that can be, but it's staying really focused on what really matters. I don't want to be known for one issue. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of churches that are known for they're this one issue that they're gonna, and that may be what they're supposed to do. I'm not even judging that at all. I'm just saying that's not been my direction. I don't think it's where our church is our direction.
Well, you do hear of, churches, people in the congregation, or maybe it's been live stream and it's a bigger church, and so they have a big following, and the pastor said something, the youth leader did something, whatever it might be, and it seems like everyone's so easily offended that I wonder if that's crept into the church. But we're going on to the other side, like being accepting and all this, and like Jordan was saying, can the church be too accepting? Because then you start walking a line, right? Like, where do you start going? And I know I made the analogy, like, checking boxes to be allowed in. Mm-hmm. But is there a point where it's too much, it's too accepting? So then the whole point of church and trying to be different than the world, you hear the saying, of this, or in this world, but not of it, or what is it? Something like that. No, that's it. Where does that come into play? Because someone has to look at the church, or look at a pastor, or look at a worship leader, or youth leader, saints in the church who are somewhat seasoned and have a relationship with God, and say, I see a difference. if someone's looking at a church, a pastor, whatever it might be, and they don't see any different from the rest of the world, then there's an issue there too.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, I think it's just always the struggle, because you there is going to be a difference. But I think one thing is, I mean, I use this little story every once in a while where I say, look, if we knew everything about you, we wouldn't let you in the doors. But if you knew everything about me, you wouldn't be listening to me right now.
Right.
So it's kind of that.
good.
So let's talk about that reality, and now let's go toward what God has for each one of us.
Mm-hmm.
The journey, we're going to be bumpy. We're going to struggle. But there should be a difference. But the difference isn't us. The difference is going to be how much God is being, how much we're allowing God to basically shine through. It's His power. It's His presence. It's not us in the end. Yeah, I think it's a big barrier for a lot of people. That I talked to someone the other day, and that was their big barrier. It's like I got to get better before I can come to church. And I'm like, really, that's really not.
We've heard that a lot.
I hear that a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people feel that way, and I think a lot of churches have sent that message. To be honest, you've got look a certain way, dress a certain way, whatever. Can't have this, can't whatever. Yeah, and it's just interesting. I just got an email recently from a guy that. So I keep a list of how many people with ankle monitors have I baptized. Now, that's a weird list, okay? I understand. Nobody else has probably that list in the universe.
Probably.
But I have that list because, to me, that's always a great reminder for me of here's this here's somebody, and they're, obviously they got an ankle monitor for some reason. And
is it even possible to do?
you have to
wrap it or something?
You had to wrap it.
Well, no, you baptize them upside down, right?
Yeah, it's dip, head first. Didn't hold them down too long. It was, we had to put the, like a baggie and rubber bands and the whole
awesome.
bit. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And I get this email from him, and he moved away. I got this email, and he said, I want to catch you up on my life. And he said, I still remember the day when you said, are you going to let that ankle monitor keep you from getting baptized? Wow. And he said, I've gotten married. I've got this job. I mean, his life, he's made a big turn. It's a great story. I mean, it's a great story. I mean, he's still got struggles like we all do, but it's just a great story. And to me, that's, kind of full circle, that it's those kind of stories that when I was doing that 1 year that I went, wow, I want to be part of that.
Yeah.
I want to be part of seeing that happen in somebody's life. It's happened in my life. I know it can happen in anybody's life. And to me, that was great. And so it's, he felt there's a couple key steps there we're talking about. So cancel culture, you think about that and you think about him, and it's like, okay, here's a guy that's, and I mean, I know what he was, in prison for and everything, and what happened, I know his past, but he at somebody and felt like he could come. And then he came and he thought I could come. And that was one of the things he highlighted, honestly, was I came going, all kind of fears. He was like, are they going to sacrifice chickens? I remember him talking about all kind of, fear.
Are they going to hold up snakes?
Yeah. What are they going to do when I walk in those doors and all this kind of stuff? And he said, but I couldn't believe how welcomed I was.
Oh, wow.
And then I even told him that, so much so that I feel like I could tell him, well, I need to let you know I'm wearing an ankle monitor. Well, he didn't have to tell us that he's wearing an ankle monitor. And then he was like, oh, God's doing these things in my life. I really like to get baptized. I'd like to commit my life to God. And, it's like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Because it's all about, that change that God can bring into somebody's life.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I'm a testament. Like, I feel like when I first got hired, and you talked about the dynamics of me and John, I was like, man, how am I going to fit into Crestview? Like, what is it going to be like? But just being able to work under your leadership and counsel, it's those moments that you talked about, like that guy coming up to you at college and saying, hey, this little sentence changed your life, or obviously that sentence changed that man's life when you said, is the ankle monitor going to hold you back? And I mean, we've been through some stuff behind the scenes that have scarred us, and man, that was a tough season. But it was through your counsel and your leadership that I've learned how to be a better Christian and be a better leader, and how I lead my team through that. And so I'll just say that I don't know. I probably won't be the man I am today without John's leadership. And so it's been awesome to be at Crestview and learn how to be in certain situations and go like, and what do I do here? And through John's leadership has helped me through that. And so I feel like I see John minister to a lot of people every Sunday, but every Sunday he ministers to me.
Wow.
And so it's pretty cool to be able to be in. I'm blessed. And I told Brandon, I was having a conversation with Brandon, if people that aren't watching that don't know who Brandon is, he's our MD, music guy, director. And I told him, I'm pretty young to be in the position I'm in.
For being 12, you're doing good.
Oh my God. Yes, I'm 12. No, but I'm pretty young to be in the position I'm in. And I told him, I said, I don't know where I'll be when I'm 30 or 35 or 40. Hopefully still doing what I'm doing, but I'll always look back at the leadership of John, because I feel like it's not every chance you get to have a spiritual mentor like John. And I was like, I'll probably never have a pastor like John, to where he trusts us and lets us lead the way we do. And so seeing him interact with different people, it's a game changer when it comes to the spirituality of the church, and it's been awesome. So
Pretty impressive.
yeah, it's awesome.
Pretty impressive.
Well, I just think it's just interesting because, I just think we all struggle. We just all struggle. And to act like we don't is just, kind of playing a game. And we all do. And we all need that. And I just think we live in a world, and I don't know that this is different than the world in general, but I think there's so many things. Well, okay, I'm going to say I think it's more. Mm-hmm. That things just tear people down. There's so many things that get torn down. It's people can be brutal,
yep.
and things that people go through can be brutal.
Yeah.
And to me, we just really do need that encouragement from other people. We need, because you can get torn down pretty quick. I know. See, my story was that first year that I'm the janitor and the youth pastor, something happened with somebody that kind of just, kind of rocked my whole world. It was somebody got angry about something and, kind of tore me down, and I was ready to just quit, to be honest.
Yeah.
That could have been my story, but I think everybody goes through that where there's so many things that can tear you down. And I think one of the things that God does is that he leads us to help each other through that process, because otherwise, I think during COVID, people have been in their own heads for so much, in their own thoughts. And, what's that's been destructive. That hasn't really been a good thing. That's been a bad thing. Mm-hmm. And so we need, that's just huge. And I think one of the key things that I think if a church is on point, and not all, and churches make a lot of mistakes and are not perfect by any means, but definitely that's one of the key things that I think people need and want, and because people are getting torn down.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
Yeah.
Man, I think we're going to use that as the ending there. That was awesome what he said about you. Jordan speaks very highly of you. I'm working back at Crestview. You guys are one of my clients again, so I'm excited about that and get to hear you guys more. So I really appreciate you guys being on. Senior pastor of Crestview Baptist, worship leader at Crestview Baptist. You guys make an amazing team. You have a great team there with the worship band and associate pastors and everything like that. From the door greeters to kids ministry, you guys have a good thing going, and I really appreciate you guys being on. This was episode 1 of the Jonathan Voyles Podcast. It should be on YouTube. Not sure if it's going to go on Spotify and iTunes yet. We'll see, but you can catch us on YouTube. We really appreciate you guys.